The dust hung thick in the late summer air over the Lüneburg Heath, that endless stretch of purple heather and sandy paths in northern Germany where the wind never quite stopped whispering. It was 1873, and the old postal route from Uelzen to Celle had become something more dangerous than a simple coach route. People called it the Schwarze Pfad now, the Black Path, because too many wagons never reached their destination. Jakob Jack Reinhardt rode alone. He had left Hamburg 2 months earlier after burying his sister, killed in a warehouse fire set by men who owed her husband money. The husband had run. Jack had not. He carried a long-barreled Colt he'd bought from an American sailor in the harbor, a weapon that felt foreign in his calloused hands, and a single photograph tucked inside his vest, his sister smiling beside a carousel horse at the Hamburger Dom Fair. That smile was the only thing keeping his rage from turning inward. He wore no hat with a white brim, only a worn flat cap pushed back, and a long wool coat that had once belonged to a Prussian officer. His boots were English, cracked from walking. People stared when he passed through villages, too tall, too quiet, ice the color of storm clouds over the Elbe. They whispered Amerikaner, even though he spoke perfect Low German and cursed in Plattdeutsch when the pain in his shoulder fled. The trouble started in Winsen. A man named Heinrich Voss ran the area like a petty king. Voss owned half the sheep in the heath, controlled the wool trade, and had a habit of taxing travelers who used his roads. His men wore black armbands and carried sawn-off shotguns. They did strub outright, they offered protection. Refuse, and your horses went lame overnight, or your axle snapped on a stretch of road with no witnesses. Jack's first encounter was almost accidental. He stopped at a crossroads in Colt zum Schwarzen Adler. Inside, 3 of Voss' men were laughing over schnapps while an old drover named Wilhelm knelt. On the floorboards, blood dripping from his split lip. They had taken his purse and were debating whether to take his coat too. Jack stood in the doorway, light behind him. "Leave the old man be." The laughter stopped. The biggest one, red-bearded brute called Rudy, turned slowly. "And who the hell are you, stranger?" "Someone passing through." Rudy grinned, showing broken teeth. "This is Voss land. Passing through costs coin." Jack's hand rested near his coat pocket. "I already paid enough in Hamburg. I'm not paying again." Rudy stepped forward. The other 2 flanked him. Wilhelm stayed down, eyes wide. What happened next took less than 10 seconds. Rudy swung a fist. Jack stepped inside the punch, drove his elbow into the man's throat, then pivoted and cracked the barrel of the Colt across the second man's temple. The third raised his shotgun, too slow. Jack's boot caught him in the knee, he dropped howling. Jack kicked the weapon away and stood breathing hard, the room suddenly silent except for the crackle of the fire. Wilhelm stared up at him. "You're a dead man now, friend." "Maybe," Jack said. He helped the old drover to his feet. "But not today." Word traveled faster than horses across the heath. By nightfall Voss knew a tall German with an American gun had humiliated 3 of his best. By morning he'd put a price on Jack's head, 500 marks, alive preferred. Dead acceptable. Jack didn't run. He rode deeper into the heath instead, toward the old Prussian border forts that dotted the landscape like forgotten teeth. He found shelter in an abandoned Schäferhütte, a shepherd's hut half sunk into a dune. There he cleaned his pistol, sharpened his knife, and waited. 2 days later they came, 7 riders under a grey sky. Voss himself led them, a thick-set man in a black greatcoat with silver buttons, mustache waxed sharp. He looked like a banker who'd decided killing was more profitable than lending. They surrounded the hut. Voss called out, voice carrying over the wind. "Come out, Reinhardt. We can talk business. You heard my voice. I heard you. Or we end this clean." Jack stepped into the doorway, Colt loose at his side. "Your boys started it. Voss laughed. You think you're in Texas? This is Germany. We have loss here. Funny. Your loss seem flexible. Voss' smile faded. He nodded. His men dismounted, spreading out. Rifles glinted. Jack spoke quietly. Last chance. Right away. Voss spat. Take him. The first shot came from the left. Jack rolled behind a low stone wall as bullets chipped heather and dirt. He returned fire, 2 quick shots. One man screamed and fell. Another clutched his shoulder. Chaos erupted. Horses reared. Men shouted. Voss bellowed orders. Jack moved like he'd practiced in his mount 100 times, low, fast, using the dunes and scrub as cover. He wasn't a soldier, but grief had taught him patience and rage had taught him precision. He dropped 2 more before they realized he wasn't hiding. He was hunting. Voss retreated to his horse, face pale with fury. Kill him. Kill him now. Jack came up behind a boulder, sighted, and put a bullet through Voss' hut. The man flinched, horse bolting sideways. Voss clung on, cursing. Then silence fell, broken only by the groans of the wounded. Jack walked out into the open. 5 men down. 2 crawling. Voss sat his horse 20 meters away, pistol raised but trembling. Yuri finished, Jack said. Voss' lock hit, a hollow sound. You think one gunfight ends this? I have more men. I have money. I have friends in Hanover. Jack stepped closer. And I have nothing left to lose. That makes us different. Voss' eyes flicked to the pistol in Jack's hand. He lowered his own. What do you want? Leave the heath. Take your sheep and your taxes and go. Never come back. Voss stared long seconds. Then he nodded once, jerked his reins, and rode off without looking at his fallen men. Jack did chase him. He helped the survivors onto their horses, told them to tell others what happened. Word would spread faster than bullets. Weeks passed. The black path grew quiet. Travelers moved again without fear. Wilhelm and other drovers began leaving small offerings at the Schäferhütte: tobacco, bread, a bottle of clear corn. They called him der Schütze, the heat shooter. Jack never took the gifts. He stayed in the hut, repairing fences for farmers who asked, guiding lost sheep back to flocks. Sometimes at night he took out the photograph and stared at his sister's smile until the candle burned low. One autumn evening a young woman rode up. Dark hair, steady eyes, a rifle across her saddle. She introduced herself as Lena, Wilhelm's granddaughter. She'd heard the stories. They say Yuri leaving soon, she said. Jack nodded. Winter's coming. He's no place for a man alone. Where will you go? South maybe. Or back to Hamburg. Doesn't matter. Lena dismounted. It matters. People here need someone like you. Jack looked across the purple expanse, wind moving the heather in slow waves. For the first time in months he felt something besides anger, something close to peace. Maybe, he said. For a while. She smiled, small but real. Then stay. He didn't answer right away. Instead he looked at the horizon where the sun bled red into the sand. Somewhere far off a shepherd's flute played a lonely tune. Jack touched the photograph in his vest. His sister would have liked this place, he thought. Open. Honest. A place where a man could start again, not as a ghost, but as something new. He turned to Lena. Tell your grandfather he'll fix his north fence tomorrow. She laughed softly. He'll like that. As she rode away, Jack stood alone in the fading light. The heat stretched forever, wild and unforgiving, but no longer empty. He holstered the Colt, pulled his coat tighter against the evening chill, and walked back inside the hut. For the first time in years, he slept without dreams of fire.